Psalms 61 through 75 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Psalms 61 through 75 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. Psalm 61. To the chief musician, upon a stringed instrument, a psalm of David. Hear, O God, my cry, attend unto my prayer. From the end of the earth I call to thee when my heart faints. To a rock too high for me thou wilt lead me. For thou hast been a refuge for me, a tower of strength from before the enemy. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will take refuge in the covert of thy wings. Pause. For thou, O God, hast hearkened to my vows, hast given the heritage of them that fear thy name. Thou wilt add days to the days of the king, his years as many generations. He shall sit on the throne before God forever. Cause that mercy and truth preserve him. So will I sing praise to thy name forever, that I may perform my vows day by day. Psalm 62. To the chief musician over Jeduthun, a psalm of David. Only in God is my soul quieted, from him is my salvation. Only he is my rock and my salvation, my high place. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye rush upon a man? Will ye break him down, all of you, as a wall inclined, as a fence that is thrust down? They only consult to thrust him from his elevation. They delight in falsehood. They bless each with his mouth, but in their inward part they curse. Pause. Only in God be thou quieted, my soul, for from him is my hope. Only he is my rock and my salvation, my high place. I shall not be moved. On God rests my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength. My refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Pause. Only vanity are men of low degree, men of high degree a lie. In the balances they surely go up. Together are they less than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and be not vain in robbery. When riches increase, set not the heart upon them. Once has God spoken, twice have I heard this, that power belongs to God. And to thee, O Lord, belongs mercy, for thou wilt render to man according to his work. Psalm 63, a psalm of David, when he was in the wilderness of Judah. O God art thou, earnestly will I seek thee. My soul thirsts for thee, my flesh pines for thee, in a land of drought and fainting, without water. So in the sanctuary have I beheld thee, to see thy power and thy glory. For thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise thee. So will I bless thee while I live. In thy name will I lift up my hands. As with marrow and fatness shall my joy be satisfied, and my mouth shall praise with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed, in the night watches I meditate on thee. For thou hast been a help for me, and in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul has followed close upon thee, thy right hand has upheld me. And they, to their destruction will they seek my soul. They shall go into the depths of the earth. They shall be given over to the power of the sword. A portion for jackals shall they be. But the king will rejoice in God. They shall glory, every one that swears by him. For the mouth of them that speak falsehood shall be stopped. Psalm 64. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear, O God, my voice in my complaint. From terror of the enemy thou wilt preserve my life. Thou wilt hide me from the secret counsel of evildoers, from the tumultuous throng of workers of iniquity, who have sharpened their tongue like a sword, have fitted their arrow, bitter speech, to shoot in the secret places at the upright. Suddenly will they shoot at him, and will not fear. They strengthen their evil design. They concert how to conceal snares. They have said, who will look upon them? They search for iniquities. We are ready, say they, a device searched out. And the inward part of each, and the heart is deep. But God has shot at them. With an arrow suddenly themselves are smitten. And he has made them stumble. Their own tongue is against them. They flee away, every one that looks upon them. And all men feared, and declared God's doing, and his work they attentively consider. The righteous will rejoice in Jehovah, and trust in him, and all the upright in heart will glory. Psalm 65. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, a song. To thee belong submission, praise, O God in Zion, and to thee shall the vow be paid. Thou that hearest prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come. Iniquities have prevailed over me. Our transgressions, thou thyself wilt cover them. Happy he whom thou wilt choose and bring near. He shall dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the riches of thy house, thy holy temple. By fearful things in righteousness wilt thou answer us, O God of our salvation, the confidence of all the ends of earth and sea afar off. Who sets fast the mountains by his strength, girded with power, who stills the roar of the seas, the roar of their waves, the tumult of the peoples. Then were they that dwell in the utmost parts afraid at thy tokens. Thou causest the outgoings of morning and evening to rejoice. Thou hast visited the earth and made it overflow with plenty. Thou greatly enrichest it. The river of God is full of water. Thou preparest their grain, for so dost thou prepare the earth, drenching its furrows, settling its riches. Thou makest it soft with showers, its springing up thou dost bless. Thou hast crowned the year with thy goodness, and thy footsteps drip with fatness. The pastures of the wilderness, they drip, and the hills gird themselves with gladness. The pastures are clothed with flocks, and the valleys are robed with grain. They shout together, yea, they sing. Psalm 66. To the chief musician, a song, a psalm. Shout unto God, all the earth. Sing the glory of his name. Ascribe glory, the praise due to him. Say unto God, how fearful are thy doings. In the greatness of thy strength shall thy enemies profess submission to thee. All the earth shall worship thee, and shall sing praise to thee. They shall sing praise to thy name. Pause. Go and see the doings of God, fearful in action toward the sons of men. He turned the sea into dry land. They passed through the flood on foot. There we rejoiced in him. He rules by his might forever. His eyes keep watch among the nations. Let not the rebellious exalt themselves. Pause. Bless our God, ye peoples, and cause the voice of his praise to be heard, who holds our soul in life, and has not suffered our foot to be moved. For thou hast tried us, O God. Thou hast assayed us, as silver is assayed. Thou didst bring us into the net. Thou didst lay a heavy burden on our loins. Thou didst cause men to ride over our head. We went through fire and through water, and thou hast brought us out to overflowing plenty. I will come into thy house with burnt offerings. I will pay to thee my vows, which my lips uttered, and my mouth spoke in my distress. Burnt offerings of fatlings will I offer to thee, with incense of rams. I will offer oxen with he-goats. Pause. Come, hear, and I will declare, all ye that fear God, what he has done for my soul. To him I cried with my mouth, and praise is beneath my tongue. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me. But verily God has heard me. He has attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be God, who has not turned away my prayer, and his mercy from me. Psalm 67. To the chief musician with stringed instruments, a psalm, a song. God be gracious to us and bless us. Cause his face to shine upon us. Pause. That thy way may be known in the earth, thy salvation among all the heathen. Let the peoples praise thee, O God. Let the peoples praise thee, all of them. Let the nations be glad and shout for joy. For thou wilt judge the peoples righteously, and the nations in the earth thou wilt guide them. Pause. Let the peoples praise thee, O God. Let the peoples praise thee, all of them. The earth has yielded her increase. God, our God, will bless us. God will bless us, and all the ends of the earth will fear him. Psalm 68. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, a song. Let God arise, let his enemies be scattered, and let them that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven, thou wilt drive them. As wax is melted before the fire, the wicked shall perish before God. But the righteous shall be glad. They shall exult before God, and shall rejoice with gladness. Sing to God, sing praise to his name. Cast up a way for him that rides through the deserts. By his name Jah, and triumph before him. A father of the orphans and a judge of the widows is God in his holy habitation. God makes the solitary dwell in families. He brings out prisoners into prosperity, but rebels inhabit a parched land. O God, when thou wentest forth before thy people, when thou didst march through the desert. Pause. Earth shook, yea, the heavens dropped at the presence of God, that Sinai at the presence of God, the God of Israel. With plentiful rain thou didst sprinkle, O God, thy heritage, and when fainting, thou thyself hast raised it up. Thy flock, they have dwelt therein. Thou, O God, dost provide in thy goodness for the poor. The Lord gives the word. The women that publish the glad tidings are a mighty host. Kings of armies flee, they flee, and the dweller in the house, she divides the spoil. Will ye lie down among the sheepfolds, the wings of the dove overlaid with silver, and her feathers with yellow gold? When the Almighty scattered kings therein, it was snow white on Salmon. A mount of God is the mount of Bashan, a mount of peaks is the mount of Bashan. Why watch ye jealously, ye mountain peaks, the mount which God desired to dwell in it? Yea, Jehovah will abide here forever. The chariots of God are myriadfold, thousands upon thousands. The Lord is among them, Sinai in the sanctuary. Thou hast ascended on high, hast led captive the captured, hast taken gifts among men, and even rebels, that Jah, God, may abide here. Blessed be the Lord day by day. He bears our burden. God is our salvation. Pause. God is to us a God for deliverances, and to Jehovah the Lord belong ways of escape from death. Surely God will crush the head of his enemies, the hairy crown of him that goes on in his trespasses. The Lord has said, From Bashan will I bring back, I will bring back from the depths of the sea, that thy foot may bathe in blood, the tongue of thy dogs have its portion from the enemies. They saw thy goings, O God, the goings of my God, my King in the sanctuary. Before went singers, behind players on stringed instruments, in the midst of maidens beating timbrels. In companies they bless God, the Lord, they that are of Israel's fountain. There is little Benjamin, their ruler, princes of Judah, their multitude, princes of Zebulun, princes of Naphtali. Thy God has commanded thy strength. Strengthen, O God, what thou hast wrought for us. Because of thy temple at Jerusalem, kings shall bring presents to thee. Rebuke the beast of the reeds, the herd of bullocks with the calves of the peoples, prostrating themselves with pieces of silver. He has scattered peoples that delight in wars. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia shall eagerly stretch out her hands to God. Kingdoms of the earth, sing unto God. Sing praises to the Lord. Pause. To him that rides in the heavens of old, lo, he utters his voice, a mighty voice. Ascribe strength to God. Over Israel is his majesty, and his strength in the clouds. Terrible art thou, O God, out of thy holy places, mighty one of Israel, he that gives strength and peace to the people. Blessed be God. Psalm 69. To the chief musician. To the melody, Lilies, a psalm of David. Save me, O God, for the waters have come in, even to the soul. I am sunk in mire of the deep, and there is no standing place. I am come into the depths of waters, and the flood has overwhelmed me. I am weary with my crying. My throat is parched. My eyes fail while I wait for my God. More than the hairs of my head are they that hate me without cause. Strong are they that would destroy me, my enemies wrongfully. What I took not away, must I then restore? O God, thou knowest as to my foolishness, and my trespasses have not been hidden from thee. Let not them be ashamed in me that wait for thee, O Lord, Jehovah of hosts. Let not them be dishonored in me that seek me, O God of Israel. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach, shame has covered my face. I am become a stranger to my brethren, and an alien to the sons of my mother. For zeal for thy house consumed me, and the reproaches of them that reproached thee fell on me. And I wept while my spirit fasted, and it was a reproach to me. And I made sackcloth my garment, and I became a byword to them. They talk of me, they that sit in the gate, and the songs of the drinkers of strong drink. But as for me, my prayer is to thee, O Jehovah, at a time of acceptance, O God, in the abundance of thy mercy. Answer me in the truth of thy salvation. Rescue me out of the mire, and let me not sink. Let me be rescued from them that hate me, and from the depths of waters. Let not the flood of waters overwhelm me, and let not the deep swallow me up, and let not the pit shut her mouth upon me. Answer me, O Jehovah, for thy loving kindness is good. According to the multitude of thy compassions, turn unto me, and do not hide thy face from thy servant. For I am in trouble. Make haste to answer me. Draw nigh to my soul. Redeem it. Because of my enemies, deliver me. Thou dost know my reproach, and my shame, and my dishonor. All my adversaries are before thee. Reproach has broken my heart, and I am sick. And I looked for pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I found none. And they put gall in my food, and for my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table before them be for a snare, and to the secure for a trap. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and make their loins waver continually. Pour upon them thine indignation, and let the heat of thine anger overtake them. Let their habitation be desolated. Let there be no dweller in their tents. For whom thou hast smitten they persecute, and tell of the pain of thy wounded. Add iniquity to their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted from the book of life, and with the righteous let them not be written. And I am afflicted and sorrowful. Thy salvation, O God, shall set me on high. I will praise the name of God in song, and will magnify him with thanksgiving. It will better please Jehovah than an ox, a bullock with horns, with cloven hoofs. The humble have seen it. They will rejoice. Seekers of God, let your hearts revive. For Jehovah hearkens to the needy, and his prisoners he has not despised. Let the heavens and the earth praise him, the seas and everything that moves therein. For God will save Zion, and will build the cities of Judah. And they dwell there, and shall possess it. And the seed of his servants shall inherit it. And they that love his name shall abide therein. Psalm 70. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, to bring to remembrance. O God, to my rescue. O Jehovah, to my help make haste. They shall be ashamed and confounded that seek my soul. They shall be turned back and put to confusion that delight in my harm. They shall turn back for a reward of their shame, who say, Aha! Aha! They shall rejoice and be glad in thee, all that seek thee. And they shall say always, God be magnified, that love thy salvation. And I am afflicted and needy. O God, make haste to me. My help and my deliverer art thou. O Jehovah, do not delay. Psalm 71. In thee, Jehovah, I put my trust. Let me not be ashamed for evermore. In thy righteousness thou wilt rescue me and deliver me. Incline to me thine ear and save me. Be thou to me a rock of refuge, to come thither continually. Thou hast commanded to save me, for my rock and my fortress art thou. My God, deliver me from the hand of the wicked, from the grasp of the perverse and violent. For thou art my hope, O Lord Jehovah, my trust from my youth. On thee have I been sustained from the womb. Thou art he that took me from the bowels of my mother. Of thee is my praise continually. As a wonder have I been to many, but thou art my strong refuge. My mouth shall be filled with thy praise, with thy majesty all the day. Cast me not away at the time of old age. As my strength fails, do not forsake me. For my enemies have said it of me, and they that watch from my soul have counseled together, saying, God has forsaken him. Pursue and take him, for there is none to rescue. O God, be not far from me. My God, make haste to my help. They shall be ashamed, shall consume away that are adversaries of my soul. They shall be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my harm. But I continually will I hope, and will add to all thy praise. My mouth shall recount thy righteousness, thy salvation all the day, for I know not the numbers. I will come with the mighty deeds of the Lord Jehovah. I will make mention of thy righteousness, thine only. O God, thou hast taught me from my youth, and hitherto do I make known thy wondrous works. And even to old age and hoary hairs, O God, do not forsake me, till I shall make known thine arm to generations, thy might to every one that is to come. And thy righteousness, O God, is even unto the height. Thou who hast done great things, O God, who is like to thee? Thou who hast made us to see troubles great and sore, wilt again revive us, and from the abysses of the earth wilt bring us up again. Thou wilt increase my greatness, and wilt turn again to comfort me. I too will praise thee with an instrument, a lute, thy truth, O my God. I will sing praise to thee with the harp, thou Holy One of Israel. My lips shall rejoice, for I will sing praise to thee, and my soul which thou hast redeemed. Also my tongue all the day shall speak of thy righteousness, for they are confounded, they are brought to shame that seek my harm. Psalm 72, a psalm of Solomon. O God, give to the king thy judgments, and thy righteousness to the king's son. He shall judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with rectitude. The mountains shall bear peace for the people, and the hills by righteousness. He shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the sons of the needy. He shall break in pieces the oppressor. They shall fear thee while the sun endures, as long as the moon to all generations. He shall come down as rain upon the mown grass, as showers that refresh the earth. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace, till the moon be no more. And he shall rule from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. They of the desert shall crouch before him, and his enemies shall lick the dust. Kings of Tarshish and the isles shall bring presents. Kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts, and all kings shall bow down to him. All nations shall serve him. For he will rescue the needy, crying for help, the poor and him that has no helper. He will have pity on the weak and needy, and will save the souls of the needy. From extortion and from violence he will redeem their soul, and precious is their blood in his eyes. And he shall live, and will give to him of the gold of Sheba, and will pray for him continually. All the day he will bless him. There shall be abundance of grain in the land. On the top of the mountains its fruit shall wave like Lebanon, and they shall bloom forth from the city like the herb of the earth. His name shall be forever. As long as the sun shall his name flourish. And in him shall they bless themselves. All nations shall call him happy. Blessed be Jehovah God, the God of Israel, who alone doeth wonders. And blessed be his glorious name forevermore. And let the whole earth be filled with his glory. Amen and amen. The prayers of David, the son of Jesse, are ended. Third book. Psalm 73, a psalm of Asaph. Surely God is good to Israel, to the pure in heart. And as for me, my feet almost turned aside, my steps well nigh slid. For I was envious at the foolish, when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For their death has no pains, and their strength is full fed. In the troubles of men they share not, and they are not plagued in common with men. Therefore pride is become their necklace, the garb of violence covers them. Their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than heart conceives. They mock, and with malice they speak oppression. From on high they speak. They have set their mouth in the heavens, and their tongue walks through the earth. Therefore do his people turn away hither, and waters in abundance are eagerly drained by them. And they say, How does God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, such are the wicked, and forever secure they have increased wealth. Surely in vain have I cleansed my heart, and washed my hands in innocency, and been smitten all the day long, my chastisement morning by morning. If I say, I will declare thus, behold, I should deal falsely with the generation of thy children. And I meditated to know this. It was an evil in my eyes, till I went into the sanctuary of God, gave heed to their end. Surely thou dost set them in slippery places. Thou dost cast them down to ruin. How are they brought to desolation as in a moment? They are swept away, they are consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awakes, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou dost despise their image. For my heart is embittered, and I am pierced in my reins. And I am brutish, and know not. A beast have I been before thee. But I am continually with thee. Thou hast kept hold of my right hand. Thou wilt guide me by thy counsel, and afterward wilt receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven? And with thee I have no delight on the earth. My strength and my heart fail. The rock of my heart and my portion is God forever. For lo, they that are far from thee shall perish. Thou hast destroyed all that adulterously forsake thee. And as for me, to draw near to God is good for me. I have made the Lord Jehovah my refuge, that I may tell of all thy works. Psalm 74. Didactic Psalm of Asaph. Wherefore, O God, hast thou cast off forever? Why does thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation thou didst purchase of old, didst redeem as the tribe of thine inheritance, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift thy steps to the perpetual ruins, all that the enemy has wickedly done in the sanctuary. Thine adversaries have roared in the midst of thine assembly. Their ensigns they have set for signs. It seems as when one lifts up axes in the thicket of the wood. So now all the carved work thereof with axe and hammers they beat down. They have set on fire thy sanctuary. To the ground have they profaned the dwelling place of thy name. They said in their heart, let us destroy them together. They have burned all God's places of assembly in the land. Our signs we see not. There is no prophet any more, nor is there any among us that knows how long. How long, O God, shall the foe reproach? Shall the enemy contemn thy name forever? Wherefore dost thou withdraw thy hand, even thy right hand? Forth from the midst of thy bosom destroy. And God is my king of old, working deliverances in the earth. Thou didst cleave the sea by thy strength, didst break the heads of monsters on the waters. Thou didst crush the heads of Leviathan, didst give him for food to them that people the desert. Thou didst break open the fountain and brook, thou didst dry up ever-flowing streams. Thine is the day, yea, night is thine. Thou hast prepared the light and sun. Thou hast set all the bounds of the earth. Summer and winter thou hast formed them. Remember this, an enemy has reproached Jehovah, and a foolish people have contemned thy name. Do not give over to the greedy herd thy turtle-dove. The congregation of thy poor do not forget forever. Have respect to the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. Let not the oppressed turn back ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thine own cause. Remember thou art reproached by the fool daily. Do not forget the voice of thine adversaries, the noise of them that rise against thee, ascending continually. Psalm 75. To the chief musician, do not destroy. A psalm of Asaph, a song. We give thanks to thee, O God, we give thanks. And that thy name is near, thy wonders have told. For I will take a set time, I will judge equitably. The earth and all that dwell in it are dissolving. I bear up its pillars. Pause. I said to the fools, do not deal foolishly, and to the wicked, do not lift up the horn. Do not lift up on high your horn, nor speak with a stiff neck. For not from the east, and not from the west, and not from the south is promotion. For God is judge. He puts down one, and raises up another. For in the hand of Jehovah is a cup, and it foams with wine full of mixture, and he pours out thereof. Yea, its dregs they shall wring out, shall drink, all the wicked of the earth. But I will make known forever. I will sing praise to the God of Jacob, and all the horns of the wicked will I cut off. The horns of the righteous shall be lifted up. The end of Psalms 61 through 75. Recording by Mark Penfold. (76 through 90) of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Psalms 76 through 90 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. Psalm 76. To the chief musician, on stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah is God known. His name is great in Israel. And in Salem was his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. There broke he the arrows of the bow, shield and sword and war. Pause. Resplendent art thou, glorious, more than the mountains of prey. The strong of heart were despoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might found their hands. At thy rebuke, O God of Jacob, they lay in deep sleep, both chariot and horse. Thou, terrible art thou! And who may stand before thee when once thou art angry? From heaven thou didst cause judgment to be heard. Earth feared and was still, when God arose to judgment, to save all the humble of the earth. Pause. For the wrath of man shall praise thee, the remnant of wrath thou girdest on. Vow and pay to Jehovah your God. Let all that are about him bring gifts to him that should be feared. He cuts off the spirit of princes. He is terrible to the kings of the earth. Psalm 77. To the chief musician over Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. My voice is unto God, and I will cry. My voice is unto God, and do thou give ear to me. In the day of my distress I sought the Lord. My hand by night was stretched out, and slackened not. My soul refused to be comforted. I call God to mind, and sigh. I lament, and my spirit faints. Pause. Thou hast held my eyes waking. I am disquieted and cannot speak. I thought on the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to mind my song in the night. I commune with my heart, and my spirit makes search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he favor no more? Has his mercy ceased forever? Has the promise failed to all generations? Has the Mighty One forgotten to be gracious, or in anger shut up his tender mercies? Pause. And I said, This is my infirmity. Years of the right hand of the Most High will I commemorate, the deeds of Jah. For I will remember thy wonders from of old, and I will meditate on all thy work, and think on all thy doings. O God, in holiness is thy way. Who is a mighty one, great like God? Thou art the mighty one, doing wonders. Thou hast made known thy strength among the peoples. Thou hast redeemed with the arm thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Pause. The waters saw thee, O God. The waters saw thee. They trembled. Yea, the depths quaked. The clouds poured out water. The skies uttered a voice. Yea, thine arrows went abroad. The voice of thy thunder rolled along. Lightnings lightened the world. The earth quaked and shook. Thy way was in the sea, and thy paths in great waters, and thy footsteps were not known. Thou didst guide thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Psalm 78. Didactic Psalm of Asaph. Give ear, my people, to my law. Incline your ear to the sayings of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings from of old. What we have heard and have known, and our fathers have told us, we will not hide from their children, recounting to after generations the praises of Jehovah, and his might, and his wonders which he wrought. For he set up a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, to make them known to their sons, to the end that after generations might know, sons might be born, might arise and tell to their sons, and might place in God their hope, and not forget the deeds of the Mighty One, and might keep his commandments, and not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that was not steadfast in their heart, and their spirit was not truthful with God. The sons of Ephraim, armed bowmen, turned back in the day of conflict. They kept not the covenant of God, and in his law they refused to walk, and they forgot his deeds and his wonders which he showed them. In the sight of their fathers he wrought wonders. In the land of Egypt, the plain of Zoan, he divided the sea, and let them pass through, and he made the waters stand as a heap. And he guided them in the cloud by day, and every night in the light of fire. He clave rocks in the wilderness, and gave them water as the depths abundantly. And he brought flowing streams out of the cliff, and made waters run down like rivers. And they continued still to sin against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert. And they tempted God in their heart, so as to ask food for their greediness. And they spoke against God. They said, Is the Mighty One able to spread a table in the wilderness? Lo, he smote the rock, and the waters flowed, and streams gushed out. Will he also be able to give bread, or will he provide flesh for his people? Therefore Jehovah heard and was wroth, and fire was kindled in Jacob, and also anger rose up against Israel, because they did not believe in God, and trusted not in his deliverance. And he commanded the skies above, and the doors of heaven he opened, and rained upon them manna for food, and grain of heaven he gave them. Bread of the mighty did man eat, he sent them provision in abundance. He caused an east wind to blow in the heavens, and led by his strength a south wind. And he rained flesh upon them as the dust, and winged fowl as the sand of the seas, and let them fall in the midst of his encampment, round about his dwellings. And they ate and were fully satisfied, and he brought them their desire. They were not estranged from their desire, their food was yet in their mouths. And the anger of God came up against them, and he slew among the stoutest of them, and Israel's young men he brought low. For all this they still sinned, and believed not in his wonders. And he consumed their days in vanity, and their years in terror. If he slew them, then they sought him, and returned, and eagerly inquired after God. And they remembered that God was their rock, and the Mighty One, the Most High, their Redeemer. But they deceived him with their mouth, and with their tongue they lied to him. And their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not truthful to his covenant. But he, the compassionate, covers iniquity and destroys not. And many times he turned away his anger, and would not rouse up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were flesh, a breath that goes and returns not. How oft they rebelled against him in the wilderness, grieved him in the desert. And they tempted God anew, and offended the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, the day when he redeemed them from the foe, when he set his signs in Egypt, and his portents in the plain of Zoan, and turned their rivers into blood, and their streams they could not drink. He sent among them flies, and they devoured them, and frogs, and they desolated them. And he gave their increase to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He killed their vines with hail, and their sycamores with frost, and delivered up their cattle to the hail, and their herds to the lightnings. He cast upon them the burning of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and anguish, an embassy of angels of evil. He leveled a path for his anger. He withheld not their soul from death, and their life he delivered up to the plague. And he smote every firstborn in Egypt, the firstlings of strength in the tents of Ham. And he removed as a flock his own people, and guided them as a herd in the wilderness. And he led them on safely, and they feared not. But their enemies the sea overwhelmed. And he brought them to his holy border, this mountain which his right hand won. And he drove out nations before them, and allotted them an inheritance by line, and caused the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. And they tempted and rebelled against God Most High, and his testimonies they did not keep. And they turned back and dealt falsely like their fathers. They turned aside like a deceitful bow. And they provoked his displeasure with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. God heard and was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel. And he rejected the dwelling at Shiloh, the tabernacle which he set up among men, and gave up to captivity his strength, and his glory into the hand of the foe. And he delivered up his people to the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. His young men fire consumed, and his maidens were not praised. His priests fell by the sword, and his widows wept not. As the Lord awaked, as one that slept, as a mighty man jubilant with wine, and he smote back his foes, he laid upon them eternal reproach. And he rejected the tabernacle of Joseph, and the tribe of Ephraim he did not choose. And he chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion which he loved. And he built his sanctuary as the heights of heaven, as the earth which he founded forever. And he chose David his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. From following the suckling ewes he took him, to be shepherd over Jacob his people, and over Israel his inheritance. And he fed them after the integrity of his heart, and by the skillfulness of his hands he led them. Psalm 79. A psalm of Asaph. O God, the heathen have come into thy inheritance. They have defiled thy holy temple. They have made Jerusalem heaps. They have made the dead bodies of thy servants food for the fowls of heaven, the flesh of thy saints for the beasts of the earth. They have shed their blood like water round about Jerusalem, and there is none to bury. We have become a contempt to our neighbors, a scorn and derision to those around us. How long, O Jehovah? Wilt thou be angry forever? Will thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen who know thee not, and upon the kingdoms that call not on thy name. For they have devoured Jacob, and have laid waste his dwelling place. Remember not against us the iniquities of the forefathers. Haste, let thy compassions meet us, for we are brought very low. Help us, O God of our salvation, on account of the honor of thy name, and rescue us and cover over our sins for the sake of thy name. Wherefore should the heathen say, Where is their God? Let there be known among the heathen in our sight the avenging of the blood of thy servants that is shed. Let the sighing of the prisoner come before thee. According to the greatness of thine arm, spare those appointed to death, and return to our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach, wherewith they reproached thee, O Lord. And we, thy people, and flock of thy pasture, will give thanks to thee forever. To generation and generation we will recount thy praise. Psalm 80. To the chief musician, to the melody, Lilies, a testimony. A psalm of Asaph. Shepherd of Israel, give ear, thou that leadest Joseph as a flock, thou that sittest above the cherubim, shine forth. Before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh, rouse up thy might, and come for our salvation. O God, restore us, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Jehovah God of hosts, how long art thou angry at the prayer of thy people? Thou hast made them eat the bread of tears, and given them tears to drink by the measure. Thou makest us a strife to our neighbors, and our enemies make themselves sport. O God of hosts, restore us, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. A vine thou didst remove out of Egypt, didst drive out nations and plant it. Thou hast cleared a way before it, and it struck down its roots, and it filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shade, and its boughs were as the cedars of God. And it sent out its branches unto the sea, and its suckers to the river. Wherefore hast thou broken down its walls, and all pluck it that pass by the way? The boar out of the wood wastes it, and the beast of the field feeds on it. O God of hosts, return, we pray. Look from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine, and shelter what thy right hand planted, and the child thou hast made strong for thyself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down. At the rebuke of thy countenance they perish. Let thy hand be over the man of thy right hand, over the Son of Man whom thou madest strong for thyself. And we will not go back. Thou wilt quicken us, and we will call on thy name. Jehovah God of hosts, restore us. Cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Psalm 81. To the chief musician, on the Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Make a joyful noise to God our strength. Shout aloud to the God of Jacob. Raise a song, and let the timbrel sound, the sweet harp with the lute. Blow the trumpet in the new moon, in the full moon on the day of our solemn feast. For this is a statute for Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. He appointed it for a testimony in Joseph, when he went forth over the land of Egypt. I heard a language that I knew not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands withdrew from the basket. In the distress thou didst call, and I rescued thee. I answered thee in the vale of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of strife. Pause. Hear, O my people, and I will testify against thee. O Israel, if thou wilt hearken to me. There shall not be in thee a strange god, and thou shalt not worship a foreign god. I, Jehovah, am thy God, he that brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it.
And my people hearkened not to my voice, and Israel did not incline to me. And I gave them up to the stubbornness of their heart. They go on in their own counsels. If my people hearkened to my voice, if Israel would walk in my ways, soon would I humble their enemies, and again lay my hand on their foes. Haters of Jehovah should profess submission to him, and their time should be forever. He would feed them with the marrow of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock would I satisfy thee.
Psalm 82, a psalm of Asaph. God stands in the congregation of the mighty one. In the midst of the gods he judges. How long will ye judge wrongfully, and accept the persons of the wicked? Pause. Judge the weak and the orphan. Do justice to the afflicted and poor. Deliver the weak and needy. Rescue from the hand of the wicked. They know not, and they will not understand. They go their way in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I have said, ye are gods, and sons of the highest, all of you. Yet surely as men shall ye die, and as any of the princes shall ye fall. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit among all the nations.
Psalm 83, a song, a psalm of Asaph. O God, do not thou be quiet. Do not hold thy peace, and do not rest, O mighty one. For lo, thine enemies rage, and thy haters have lifted up the head. Against thy people they take crafty counsel, and they consult together against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us destroy them from being a nation, and let the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they have taken counsel and heart together. Against thee they make a league. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarites, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. Also Ashur is joined with them. They have become an arm to the sons of Lot. Pause. Do to them as to Midian, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook Kishon. They were destroyed at Endor. They became dung for the ground. Make them, their nobles, as Oreb and as Zeeb, and all their princes as Zebah and as Zalmunna, who have said, Let us take possession for ourselves of the dwelling places of God. My God, make them like the whirling dust, like chaff before the wind, as fire consumes a forest, and as a flame kindles mountains. So wilt thou pursue them with thy tempest, and with thy whirlwind terrify them. Fill their face with shame, and they shall seek thy name, Jehovah. They shall be shamed and terror-stricken forever, and shall be confounded and perish. And they shall know that thou, thy name Jehovah alone, art most high over all the earth. Psalm 84, to the chief musician, on the Gittith, a psalm of the sons of Korah. How lovely are thy dwellings, O Jehovah of hosts! My soul longs, yea, even faints for the courts of Jehovah. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow has found a house, and the swallow has a nest, where she lays her young. Thine altars, Jehovah of hosts, my King and my God. Happy they who dwell in thy house. Continually do they praise thee. Pause. Happy the man who has his strength in thee, in their heart the pilgrim ways. Passing through the valley of weeping, they make it a place of fountains. Yea, the autumn rain clothes it with blessings. They go from strength to strength. They appear, each one, before God in Zion. Jehovah, God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Pause. Behold, O God, our shield, and look on the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness. For Jehovah God is a sun and a shield. Grace and glory will Jehovah give. He withholds no good from them that walk uprightly. Jehovah of hosts, happy the man that trusts in thee. Psalm 85, to the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Thou wast favorable, O Jehovah, to thy land. Thou didst turn the captivity of Jacob. Thou didst take away the iniquity of thy people, didst cover all their sin. Pause. Thou didst withdraw all thy wrath, didst turn away from the burning of thine anger. Restore us, O God of our salvation, and cause thy displeasure against us to cease. Wilt thou forever be angry with us? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to generation and generation? Wilt not thou again revive us, and thy people shall rejoice in thee? Let us see thy mercy, O Jehovah, and grant us thy salvation. I will hear what the mighty one Jehovah will speak, for he will speak peace to his people and to his saints, and let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is near to them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth have met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth springs up out of the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. Yea, Jehovah will give the promised good, and our land will yield its increase. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall make his footsteps a way. Psalm 86. A prayer of David. Incline thine ear, O Jehovah, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my soul, for I am a beloved one. Save thy servant, O thou my God, that trusts in thee. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for to thee do I cry all the day. Rejoice the soul of thy servant, for to thee do I lift up my soul. For thou, Lord, art good and ready to forgive, and abundant in mercy to all that call upon thee. Give ear, O Jehovah, to my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my distress I call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. There is none like thee among the gods, O Lord, and no works like thine. All nations which thou hast made shall come and bow down before thee, O Lord, and shall give glory to thy name. For thou art great and doest wonders, thou art God alone. Teach me, Jehovah, thy way. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with my whole heart, and will glorify thy name forevermore. For great is thy mercy toward me, and thou hast rescued my soul from the underworld beneath. O God, the proud have risen up against me, and an assembly of the violent have sought after my soul, and have not set thee before them. But thou, O Lord, art a God compassionate and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. Turn toward me and be gracious to me. Give thy strength to thy servant, and grant deliverance to the son of thy handmaid. Show me a token for good, and they that hate me shall see and be ashamed, because thou, Jehovah, hast helped me and comforted me.
Psalm 87. A psalm of the sons of Korah. A song. His foundation is in the holy mountains. Jehovah loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God. Pause. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon among them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. This one was born there, and of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her. And he, the Most High, will establish her. Jehovah will count in writing up the peoples. This one was born there. Pause. And singers as well as players say, all my springs are in thee.
Psalm 88. A song. A psalm of the sons of Korah. To the chief musician, on occasion of affliction by sickness. Didactic psalm of Heman the Ezrahite. Jehovah, God of my salvation, by day I cry out, by night before thee. Let my prayer come before thee. Incline thine ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to the underworld. I am reckoned with them that go down to the pit. I am become as a man without strength. Forsaken among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more, and they are cut off from thy hand. Thou hast laid me in the lowest pit, in dark places, in the depths. Thy wrath lies heavy upon me, and with all thy waves thou hast afflicted me. Pause. Thou hast put my acquaintance far away from me. Thou hast made me an abomination to them. Shut up, and I cannot go forth. My eye wastes away through affliction. I call upon thee, Jehovah, all the day. I spread out my hands unto thee. Wilt thou do wonders to the dead, or will the shades rise up and praise thee? Pause. Will thy loving kindness be told in the grave, thy faithfulness in destruction? Will thy wonders be made known in the darkness, and thy righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? And I unto thee, Jehovah, have cried for help, and in the morning my prayer shall come before thee. Wherefore, O Jehovah, dost thou cast off my soul, dost hide thy face from me? I am afflicted and ready to expire from my youth. I have borne thy terrors, am in despair. Thine indignations have passed over me, thy terrors have consumed me. They have encompassed me like waters all the day, together they beset me round. Thou hast put far from me lover and friend, my acquaintance, the place of darkness. Psalm 89, Didactic Psalm of Ethan the Ezrahite. I will sing of the mercies of Jehovah forever. To generation and generation will I make known thy faithfulness with my mouth. I said, mercy shall be built up forever. The heavens, in them thou wilt establish thy faithfulness. I have made a covenant for my chosen one. I have sworn to David my servant. Forever will I establish thy seed, and build up thy throne to generation and generation. Pause. And the heavens praise thy wonders, O Jehovah, yea, thy faithfulness in the assembly of the holy ones. For who in the skies can be compared to Jehovah, is like to Jehovah among the sons of the mighty? A God greatly to be feared in the council of the holy ones, and terrible above all that are round about him. Jehovah, God of hosts, who is mighty like thee, O Jah, and thy faithfulness is round about thee. Thou rulest the swelling of the sea. When its billows rise, thou stillest them. Thou didst crush Rahab like the slain. With thy strong arm thou didst scatter thy enemies. The heavens are thine, thine also is the earth. The world and its fullness, thou didst found them. North and south, thou didst create them. Tabor and Hermon triumph in thy name. Thine is an arm with might. Strong is thy hand, high is thy right hand. Righteousness and judgment are the foundation of thy throne. Mercy and truth wait before thee. Happy the people that know the joyful sound. Jehovah, in the light of thy countenance shall they walk. In thy name do they exult all the day, and in thy righteousness are they exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn is exalted. For to Jehovah belongs our shield, and to the Holy One of Israel our King. Then thou didst speak in vision to thy beloved one, and saidst, I have laid help on a mighty one, have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David my servant, with my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established, also my arm shall strengthen him. No enemy shall exact of him, or son of wickedness oppress him. And I will beat down his foes before him, and will smite them that hate him. And my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. And I set his hand on the sea, and his right hand on the rivers. He will cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I too will make him the firstborn, highest of the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep for him forever, and my covenant is sure to him. And I establish his seed forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. If his sons shall forsake my law, and walk not in my judgments, if they shall profane my statutes, and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgressions with a rod, and their iniquity with stripes. But my loving kindness will I not withdraw from him, and will not be false to my faith. I will not profane my covenant, nor alter what has gone forth from my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness, I will not lie to David. His seed shall be forever, and his throne as the sun before me. As the moon shall it stand fast forever, and as the witness in the skies is sure. Pause. But thou hast cast off and abhorred. Thou hast been wroth with thine anointed. Thou hast made void the covenant of thy servant. Thou hast profaned to the earth his crown. Thou hast broken down all his walls, hast made his defenses a ruin. They plunder him all that pass by the way. He has become the scorn of his neighbors. Thou hast exalted the right hand of his foes, hast made all his enemies rejoice. Yea, thou turnest back the edge of his sword, and hast not made him stand in the battle. Thou hast made his brightness to cease, and his throne thou hast cast down to the earth. Thou hast cut short the days of his youth. Thou hast covered over him with shame. Pause. How long, O Jehovah, wilt thou hide thyself forever? Shall thy wrath burn like fire? Remember what is my fleeting life. Why hast thou for naught created all the sons of men? What man shall live and not see death, shall deliver his soul from the grasp of the underworld? Pause. Where are thy former mercies, O Lord, which thou didst swear to David in thy faithfulness? Remember, Lord, the reproach of thy servants, that I bear in my bosom of all the many peoples. Wherewith thine enemies have reproached, O Jehovah, wherewith they have reproached the footsteps of thine anointed. Blessed be Jehovah forevermore. Amen and amen. Fourth Book. Psalm 90. A prayer of Moses, the man of God.
Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, and thou gavest birth to the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting thou art God. Thou turnest man to dust, and sayest, Return, ye sons of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are as yesterday when it passes away, and a watch in the night. Thou sweepest them away, they are asleep. In the morning as the grass that springs up, in the morning it flourishes and springs up. At evening it is cut down and withers. For we consume away in thine anger, and in thy wrath are we troubled. Thou hast set our iniquities before thee, our hidden things in the light of thy countenance. For all our days pass away in thy wrath, we spend our years like a thought. The days of our years, in them are 80 years and 10, and if through strength 80 years, yet is their pride toil and vanity, for it is soon past, and we fly away. Who knows the power of thine anger, and as the fear of thee thy wrath? So teach to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Return, O Jehovah! How long? And have pity on thy servants. Satisfy us with thy mercy in the morning, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad according to the days thou hast afflicted us, the years we have seen evil. Let thy work appear unto thy servants, and thy majesty upon their sons. And let the beauty of Jehovah our God be upon us, and the work of our hands establish thou upon us. Yea, the work of our hands, establish thou it.
The end of Psalms 76 through 90. Recording by Mark Penfold.
Through 105 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Psalms 91 through 105 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. Psalm 91. Dwelling in the covert of the Most High, he abides in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Jehovah, my refuge and my fortress, my God, I will trust in him. For he will rescue thee from the snare of the fowler, from the destroying pestilence. With his feathers he will cover thee, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth, a shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that walks in darkness, of the contagion that wastes at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. To thee it shall not come nigh. Only with thine eyes shalt thou look on, and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made Jehovah, my refuge, the Most High, thy dwelling place.
There shall no evil befall thee, and no plague shall come nigh thy tent. For he will give his angels charge concerning thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. On their hands shall they bear thee up, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread on the lion and the adder, the young lion and dragon shalt thou trample under foot. For he hath set his love upon me, and I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he knows my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and will honor him. With length of days will I satisfy him, and will cause him to see my salvation.
Psalm 92. A psalm, a song for the Sabbath day. It is good to give thanks to Jehovah, and to sing praise to thy name, O Most High, to declare thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. To a 10-stringed instrument, and to the lute, to the murmuring sound on the harp. For thou hast gladdened me, Jehovah, by thy work. In the works of thy hands I will triumph. How great are thy works, O Jehovah! Thy counsels are very deep. A brutish man knows not, nor does a fool understand this. When the wicked spring up as grass, and all the workers of iniquity flourish, it is that they may be destroyed forever. And thou, Jehovah, art on high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, Jehovah, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn thou wilt exalt as of the wild ox. I am anointed with fresh oil. And my eye had its desire on them that lie in wait for me, and my ear on evildoers that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Jehovah, they shall flourish in the courts of our God. Still shall they bear fruit in hoary age, full of sap and green shall they be. To show that Jehovah is upright, my rock, and no unrighteousness is in him. Psalm 93. Jehovah reigns. He is clothed with majesty. Jehovah is clothed with strength. He has girded himself. Yea, the world shall stand fast. It shall not be moved. Thy throne stands fast from of old. Thou art from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Jehovah. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their dashing waves. Mightier is Jehovah on high than the voice of many waters, the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becomes thy house, O Jehovah, forever. Psalm 94. God of vengeance, Jehovah, God of vengeance, shine forth. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth. Return a recompense upon the proud. How long shall the wicked, O Jehovah, how long shall the wicked triumph? They belch out, they speak rudely, they boast themselves, all the workers of iniquity. They grind thy people, O Jehovah, and thy heritage they oppress. The widow and the stranger they kill, and orphans they murder. And they say, Jah will not see, and the God of Jacob will not attend. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? He that planted the ear, shall he not hear? Or he that formed the eye, shall not he behold? He that chastises nations, shall not he correct? He that teaches man knowledge? Jehovah knows the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. Happy the man whom thou chastenest, O Jah, and teachest him out of thy law, to give him rest from the days of evil, until a pit shall be dug for the wicked. For Jehovah will not cast off his people, and his inheritance he will not forsake. For unto righteousness shall judgment return, and after it all the upright in heart. Who will rise up for me against evildoers? Who will take his stand for me against workers of iniquity? Unless Jehovah were my help, soon would my soul dwell in silence. When I say, my feet waver, thy mercy holds me up. In the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts soothe my spirit. Shall the throne of iniquity be allied to thee, framing mischief against law? They gather in crowds against the soul of the righteous, and condemn innocent blood. But Jehovah has been a high tower for me, and my rock a rock of refuge. And he returned upon them their iniquity, and cut them off in their wickedness. Jehovah our God will cut them off. Psalm 95.
Come, let us sing aloud to Jehovah. Let us shout to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his face with thanksgiving, and shout to him in songs. For Jehovah is a great God, and a great King above all gods, in whose hand are the recesses of the earth, and the treasures of the mountains are his. Whose is the sea, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Jehovah our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and flock of his hand. Today, if ye will hearken to his voice, harden not your heart as at Meribah, as in the day of Massah in the wilderness, where your fathers tempted me, they tried me, also saw my work. 40 years did I loathe the generation, and I said, they are a people that err in heart, and they know not my ways. Wherefore I have sworn in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. Psalm 96. Sing to Jehovah a new song. Sing to Jehovah all the earth. Sing to Jehovah, bless his name. Proclaim his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all the peoples. For great is Jehovah, and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the peoples are nothings, and Jehovah made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him, strength and beauty in his holy place. Give to Jehovah, ye families of peoples. Give to Jehovah glory and strength. Give to Jehovah the glory of his name. Bring an offering and come into his courts. Worship Jehovah in the beauty of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth. Say among the heathen, Jehovah reigns. Yea, the world shall stand fast. It shall not be moved. He will judge the peoples in rectitude. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof. Let the field triumph and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood be joyful before Jehovah, for he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness, and the peoples in his faithfulness. Psalm 97. Jehovah reigns. Let the earth exult. Let the multitude of isles be glad. Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the foundation of his throne. Fire goes before him, and burns up his foes on every side. His lightnings lightened the world. The earth saw and quaked. Mountains melted like wax at the presence of Jehovah, at the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. The heavens declared his righteousness, and all the peoples saw his glory. Ashamed shall all be that serve a graven image, that make their boast of idols. Worship him, all ye gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Judah exulted because of thy judgments, O Jehovah. For thou, Jehovah, art most high over all the earth, art greatly exalted above all gods. Ye that love Jehovah hate evil. He preserves the souls of his saints. He rescues them out of the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Be glad, ye righteous, in Jehovah, and give thanks to his holy memorial. Psalm 98. A Psalm. Sing to Jehovah a new song, for he has done wondrous things. His right arm and his holy arm have wrought salvation for him. Jehovah has made known his salvation. Before the eyes of the heathen has he revealed his righteousness. He has remembered his loving kindness and his truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Shout to Jehovah, all the earth. Break forth and be joyful, and sing praise. Sing praise to Jehovah with the harp and the voice of song, with cornets and sound of trumpet. Shout before the King Jehovah. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the mountains be joyful together before Jehovah, for he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness, and the peoples in rectitude. Psalm 99. Jehovah reigns. Let the people tremble. He sits above the cherubim. Let the earth shake. Jehovah is great in Zion, and high is he above all the peoples. Let them praise thy great and terrible name. It is holy. And the king's strength loves judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou dost execute judgment and righteousness in Jacob.
Exalt ye Jehovah our God, and worship at his footstool. He is holy. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call on his name. They called upon Jehovah, and he answered them. In the pillar of cloud he spoke to them. They kept his testimonies, and the statutes he gave them. Jehovah our God, thou didst answer them. A forgiving God wast thou to them, and one that took vengeance on their deeds. Exalt Jehovah our God, and worship at his holy mount, for Jehovah our God is holy. Psalm 100, a psalm of thanksgiving. Shout to Jehovah, all the earth. Serve Jehovah with gladness. Come before him with exultation. Know that Jehovah, he is God. He it is that made us, and we are his people, and the flock of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, bless his name, for Jehovah is good. His mercy is forever, and his faithfulness to generation and generation. Psalm 101, a psalm of David. Of mercy and of judgment will I sing. To thee, Jehovah, will I sing praise. I will act wisely in a perfect way. When wilt thou come to me? I will walk in the integrity of my heart within my house. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. The work of them that turn aside I hate. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. An evil man I will not know. He that secretly slanders his neighbor, him will I cut off. He that is of a high look and a proud heart, him will I not bear. My eyes are on the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walks in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that practices deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that speaks lies shall not abide in my sight. Morning by morning will I destroy all the wicked of the land, to cut off all workers of iniquity from the city of Jehovah. Psalm 102, a prayer of the afflicted when he is overwhelmed and pours out his complaint before Jehovah. O Jehovah, hear my prayer, and let my cry for help come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline to me thine ear. In the day when I call, make haste to answer me. For my days consume away in smoke, and my bones glow with heat like a firebrand. My heart is smitten like the grass, and dries up, for I forget to eat my food. Because the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my flesh. I am like to a pelican of the wilderness. I have become as an owl among ruins. I watch, and have become like a lonely sparrow on the housetop. All the day my enemies reproach me. They that are mad against me swear by me. For I have eaten ashes like bread, and have mingled my drink with weeping. Because of thine indignation and thy wrath, for thou hast taken me up and cast me away. My days are as the lengthened shade, and I am dried up like the grass. But thou, Jehovah, shalt sit on the throne forever, and thy remembrance is to all generations. Thou wilt arise, wilt have mercy upon Zion. For it is the time to favor her, for the set time is come. For thy servants take pleasure in her stones, and her dust they favor. And the heathen shall fear the name of Jehovah, and kings of the earth thy glory, because Jehovah has built up Zion, is seen in his glory. He has turned unto the prayer of the destitute, and has not despised their prayer. This shall be written for the generation to come, and a people to be created shall praise Jah. Jehovah bent down from his holy height. Jehovah from heaven looked on the earth, to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to loose those that are appointed to death, to declare in Zion the name of Jehovah, and his praise in Jerusalem. When the peoples are gathered together, and the kingdoms to serve Jehovah. He has humbled my strength in the way. He has shortened my days. I say, my God, take me not away in the midst of my days. Thy years are throughout all generations. Of old thou didst lay the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure, and all of them shall waste away like a garment, and as a vesture thou wilt change them, and they pass away. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. The sons of thy servants shall dwell in the land, and their seed shall be established before thee.
Psalm 103, a psalm of David. Bless Jehovah, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless Jehovah, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Who forgives all thine iniquities, who heals all thy diseases, who redeems thy life from the pit, who crowns thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfies thy mouth with good. Thy youth renews itself as the eagle. Jehovah executes righteousness and judgment for all the oppressed. He made known his ways to Moses, his deeds to the sons of Israel. Compassionate and gracious is Jehovah, slow to anger and abundant in mercy. He will not always chide, nor keep his anger forever. He has not dealt with us according to our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heavens are high above the earth, so great is his mercy toward them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. As a father has compassion on his children, Jehovah has compassion on them that fear him. For he knows our frame, he remembers that we are dust. As for man, his days are as grass, as the flower of the field, so he flourishes. For the wind passes over it, and it is gone, and its place shall know it no more. But the mercy of Jehovah is from everlasting, and to everlasting on them that fear him, and his righteousness to children's children, to them that keep his covenant, and to them that remember his precepts to do them. Jehovah has established his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom rules over all. Bless Jehovah, ye his angels, the mighty in strength that execute his word, hearkening to the voice of his word. Bless Jehovah, all his hosts, his ministers that do his pleasure. Bless Jehovah, all his works, in all places of his dominion. Bless Jehovah, O my soul. Psalm 104. Bless Jehovah, O my soul. Jehovah my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a mantle, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who frames his chambers in the waters, who makes the clouds his chariot, who goes on the wings of the wind, who makes the winds his messengers, his ministers flaming fire. He founded the earth on its bases, that it should not be moved for ever and ever. Thou didst cover it with the abyss as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. While mountains rise, valleys sink, to the place which thou didst found for them. A bound thou didst set, that they should not pass over, should not return to cover the earth. He sends out springs in the valleys. They run among the mountains. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild asses quench their thirst. Above them dwell the fowls of heaven. From among the branches they utter a voice. He waters the mountains from his chambers. The earth is sated with the fruit of thy working. He causes grass to grow for the cattle, and herbs for the service of man, bringing forth food out of the earth. And with wine he gladdens the heart of man, making the face to shine with oil, and with bread he strengthens man's heart. The trees of Jehovah are sated, cedars of Lebanon which he planted, where birds make their nests. The stork, cypresses are her house. The high mountains are a refuge for wild goats, the rocks for the conies. He made the moon for seasons. The sun knows his going down. Thou dost put darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest are in motion. The young lions roar for the prey, and seek their food from God. The sun arises, they retire, and couch down in their dens. Man goes forth to his work, and to his toil until evening. How manifold are thy works, O Jehovah! In wisdom hast thou wrought them all. The earth is full of thy riches. That sea great and broad on every hand, where are moving things and without number, both small and great beasts. There go the ships, that Leviathan thou hast formed to sport therein. They all wait for thee, to give their food in its season. Thou givest to them, they gather. Thou openest thy hand, they are sated with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou withdrawest their breath, they expire and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy breath, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the ground. Let the glory of Jehovah be forever. Let him rejoice in the works of his hands. He who looks on the earth and it trembles. He touches the mountains and they smoke. I will sing to Jehovah while I live. I will sing praise to my God while I am in being.
Sweet shall be of him my meditation. I will be glad in Jehovah. Sinners shall be consumed from the earth, and the wicked, they shall be no more. Bless Jehovah, O my soul. Praise ye Jah. Psalm 105. Give thanks to Jehovah. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praise to him. Talk of all his wondrous works. Glory in his holy name. Let the heart of them that seek Jehovah rejoice. Seek after Jehovah and his strength. Seek his face evermore. Remember his wonders that he has wrought, his portents and the judgments of his mouth. Seed of Abraham his servant, sons of Jacob his chosen ones. He, Jehovah, is our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He remembers his covenant forever, the word he commanded to 1,000 generations, which he ratified with Abraham, and his oath to Isaac, and confirmed it to Jacob for a statute, to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, To thee will I give the land of Canaan, the portion of your inheritance. When they were a small number, few and strangers in it, they went from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another people. He suffered no man to oppress them, and he reproved kings for their sake, saying, Touch not my anointed ones, and to my prophets do no harm. And he called for a famine upon the land. He broke all the staff of bread. He sent a man before them, for a servant was Joseph sold. His feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in irons. Until the time that his word came, the saying of Jehovah had cleared him. The king sent and freed him, the rulers of the peoples, and loosed him. He made him lord of his house, and ruler over all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure, and teach his elders wisdom. And Israel came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham, and he made his people fruitful exceedingly, and made them stronger than their foes. He turned their heart to hate his people, to plot against his servants. He sent Moses his servant, Aaron whom he had chosen. They set his signs among them, and portents in the land of Ham. He sent darkness, and he made it dark, and they rebelled not against his words. He turned their waters to blood, and caused their fish to die. Their land swarmed with frogs in the chambers of their kings. He said, and there came flies, lice in all their border. He gave them hail for rain, flaming fire in their land, and smote their vines and their fig trees, and broke the trees of their border. He said, and there came locusts, and caterpillars, and without number, and devoured every herb in their land, and devoured the fruit of their ground. And he smote all the firstborn in their land, the firstlings of all their strength. And he brought them out with silver and gold, and there was not a feeble one among his tribes. Egypt was glad when they went out, for their dread had fallen upon them. He spread a cloud for a covering, and fire to give light in the night. They asked, and he brought quails, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. He opened the rock, and waters flowed. They ran in the deserts, a river. For he remembered his holy word, Abraham his servant, and brought out his people with joy, his chosen ones with triumph, and gave them the lands of nations, and the labor of peoples they inherit, that they might keep his statutes, and observe his laws. Bless ye Jah. The end of Psalms 91 through 105. Recording by Mark Penfold. 106 through 118 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Psalms 106 through 118 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. Psalm 106. Bless ye Jah. Give thanks to Jehovah, for he is good, for his mercy is forever. Who shall utter the mighty deeds of Jehovah, shall cause all his praise to be heard? Happy they that keep judgment, he that does righteousness at all times. Remember me, Jehovah, with thy favor to thy people. Visit me with thy salvation, that I may witness the welfare of thy chosen ones, may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, may glory with thy heritage. We have sinned with our fathers. We have acted perversely. We have done wickedly. Our fathers in Egypt did not consider thy wonders. They remembered not the multitude of thy mercies, and they rebelled by the sea, at the Red Sea. But he saved them for his name's sake, to make known his might. And he rebuked the Red Sea, and it dried up. And he made them go through the depths, as in the wilderness. And he saved them out of the hand of the hater, and redeemed them out of the hand of the enemy. And the waters covered their foes. Not one of them was left. And they believed his words. They sang his praise. They made haste to forget his doings. They waited not for his counsel. They had greedy longings in the wilderness, and they tempted God in the desert. And he gave them their request, and sent leanness in their soul. And they were envious of Moses in the camp, of Aaron the Holy One of Jehovah. The earth opened and swallowed up Dathan, and covered over the company of Abiram. And fire burned in their company. A flame consumed the wicked. They made a calf in Horeb, and worshipped a molten image, and changed their glory into the likeness of an ox that eats grass. They forgot God who saved them, who did great things in Egypt, wondrous things in the land of Ham, terrible things by the Red Sea. And he said he would destroy them, had not Moses stood in the breach before him, to turn back his wrath from destroying. And they rejected the pleasant land. They believed not his word, and they murmured in their tents. They hearkened not to the voice of Jehovah, and he lifted up his hand to them, to make them fall in the wilderness, and to make their seed fall among the nations, and to scatter them in the lands. And they joined themselves to Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. And they provoked displeasure by their deeds, and a plague broke in upon them. Then Phinehas stood up and executed judgment, and the plague was stayed. And it was reckoned to him for righteousness, to generation and generation forevermore. They provoked anger at the waters of strife, and it went ill with Moses on their account. For they provoked his spirit, and he spoke unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the peoples of whom Jehovah told them, but mixed themselves with the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, and they became a snare to them. And they sacrificed their sons and their daughters to demons, and they shed innocent blood. Blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with bloodshed, and they were defiled with their works, and played the harlot in their deeds. And Jehovah's anger was kindled against his people, and he abhorred his heritage. And he gave them into the hand of the heathen, and they that hated them ruled over them. And their enemies oppressed them, and they were bowed down under their hand. Many times would he rescue them, and they rebelled in their counsel, and were brought low for their iniquity. But he looked on their distress when he heard their cry, and he remembered for them his covenant, and pitied them according to the abundance of his mercy, and made them objects of compassion in presence of all that carried them captive. Save us, Jehovah our God, and gather us from the nations, to give thanks to thy holy name, to glory in thy praise. Blessed be Jehovah, God of Israel, from everlasting and to everlasting. And let all the people say, Amen. Praise ye Jah.
Fifth book. Psalm 107. Give thanks to Jehovah, for he is good, for his mercy is forever. Let the redeemed of Jehovah say it, whom he redeemed from the hand of the foe, and gathered them out of the lands, from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south. They wandered in the wilderness, in a desert way. They found not a city for a habitation. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Then they cried to Jehovah in their trouble, and he rescued them out of their distresses. And he led them by a straight way, that they might go to a city for a habitation. Let them give thanks to Jehovah for his mercy, and his wonderful works to the sons of men. For he satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul he fills with good. As they sat in darkness and the shadow of death, bound in affliction and iron, because they rebelled against the words of the Mighty One, and contemned the counsel of the Most High, and he bowed down their heart with trouble. They stumbled, and there was none to help. Then they cried to Jehovah in their strait, and he saved them out of their distresses. He brought them out from darkness and the shadow of death, and broke their bands asunder. Let them give thanks to Jehovah for his mercy, and his wonderful works to the sons of men. For he has broken the doors of brass, and cut the bars of iron asunder.
Fools, because of their way of transgression, and because of their iniquities, bring affliction on themselves. All food their soul abhors, and they draw near unto the gates of death. Then they cry to Jehovah in their strait, and he saves them out of their distresses. He sends his word and heals them, and delivers them from their pits. Let them give thanks to Jehovah for his mercy, and his wonderful works to the sons of men. And let them sacrifice the sacrifices of thanksgiving, and recount his works with rejoicing. They that go down to the sea in ships, that do business in great waters, these see the works of Jehovah, and his wonders in the deep. For he spoke and raised a stormy wind, and it lifted up the waves thereof. They mount up to the heavens, they go down to the abysses. Their soul is melted because of trouble. They reel and stagger like a drunken man, and all their wisdom comes to naught. Then they cry to Jehovah in their strait, and he brings them out of their distresses. He hushes the storm to silence, and the waves thereof are still. Then they are glad because they are at rest, and he leads them to their desired haven. Let them give thanks to Jehovah for his mercy, and his wonderful works to the sons of men. And let them exalt him in the congregation of the people, and praise him in the assembly of the elders. He turns rivers into a wilderness, and water springs into dry ground, a fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. He turns the wilderness into a pool of water, and a dry land into water springs. And there he makes the hungry dwell, and they found a city for a habitation. And they sow fields, and plant vineyards, and produce fruits of the yearly increase. And he blesses them, and they multiply greatly, and their cattle he makes not few. And they become few, and are brought low from oppression, suffering, and sorrow. He pours contempt upon princes, and makes them wander in a pathless waste. And he sets the needy on high out of affliction, and makes families like a flock. The upright shall see and rejoice, and all iniquity stop her mouth. Whoso is wise, let him observe these things, and let them attentively consider the mercies of Jehovah. Psalm 108. A song, a psalm of David. My heart is fixed, O God. I will sing and will sing praise, my glory also. Awake, lute and harp. I will awake the dawn. I will praise thee among the peoples, O Jehovah. I will sing praise to thee among the nations. For great above the heavens is thy mercy, and unto the clouds thy truth. Be thou exalted above the heavens, O God, and thy glory over all the earth. That thy beloved ones may be delivered. Save with thy right hand, and answer me. God has spoken in his holiness. I will triumph. I will divide Shechem, and will mete out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is the defense of my head. Judah is my ruler's staff. Moab is my wash basin. Upon Edom will I cast my shoe. Over Philistia will I shout aloud. Who will conduct me to the fortified city? Who has led me unto Edom? Hast thou not, O God, cast us off, and will not go forth, O God, with our armies? Give us help from the foe, for vain is the deliverance of man. Through God we will do valiantly, and he it is that will tread down our foes. Psalm 109. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. God of my praise, be not silent. For a wicked mouth and a mouth of deceit have they opened against me. They have spoken against me with a tongue of falsehood, and with words of hatred they have compassed me, and have fought against me without cause. In return for my love they are my adversaries, but I give myself to prayer, and they laid upon me evil in return for good, and hatred in return for my love. Appoint thou over him a wicked one, and let an adversary stand at his right hand. When he is judged, let him go forth guilty, and let his prayer become sin. Let his days be few, his office let another take. Let his sons be orphans, and his wife a widow. Let his sons continually wander and beg, and seek help far from their ruins. Let the usurer lay a snare for all that he has, and let strangers despoil his labor. Let him have no one to extend mercy, and let there be none to show favor to his orphans. Let his posterity be cut off. In the generation following, let their name be blotted out. Let the iniquity of his fathers be in remembrance with Jehovah, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let them be before Jehovah continually, and let him cut off their memory from the earth. Because he remembered not to show mercy, and persecuted a man afflicted and needy and stricken in heart, to slay him. And he loved cursing, and it came upon him. And he delighted not in blessing, and it was far from him. And he put on cursing as his garment, and it came like water into his bowels, and like oil into his bones. Let it be to him as the robe he wears, and for a belt let him always gird it on. Let this be the reward of my adversaries from Jehovah, and of them that speak evil against my soul. And thou, Jehovah, Lord, do for me for the sake of thy name, for good is thy mercy. Rescue me, for I am afflicted and needy, and my heart is pierced within me. Like the shadow as it lengthens, I am passing away. I am driven away like the locust. My knees falter through fasting, and my flesh pines away from its fatness. And I am become to them a reproach. They see me, they shake their head. Help me, Jehovah my God. Save me according to thy mercy, and they shall know that this is thy hand. Thou, Jehovah, hast done it. They will curse, and thou wilt bless. They have risen up and shall be shamed, and thy servant will rejoice. My adversaries shall be clothed with shame, and cover themselves with their confusion as with a robe. I will thank Jehovah greatly with my mouth, and in the midst of many will I praise him. For he will stand on the right hand of the needy, to save him from them that judge his soul. Psalm 110, a psalm of David. Jehovah said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand, till I shall make thy enemies a stool for thy feet. The rod of thy strength will Jehovah stretch forth from Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thy enemies. Thy people are free will offerings in the day of thy warfare, in beauties of holiness. From the womb of the morning thou hast thy dew of youth. Jehovah has sworn, and he will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. The Lord is on thy right hand. He smites kings in the day of his anger. He will judge among the heathen. He fills with dead bodies. He smites the head over broad lands. Of the brook in the way will he drink. Therefore will he lift up the head. Psalm 111. Praise ye Jah. I will thank Jehovah with the whole heart, in the company of the upright and in the congregation. Great are the works of Jehovah, searched out by all that delight in them. Honorable and glorious is his work, and his righteousness stands fast forever. He has made a memorial for his wonderful works. Gracious and compassionate is Jehovah. The prey he has given to them that fear him. He will forever remember his covenant. The might of his works he has shown to his people, to give to them the heritage of the nations. The works of his hand are truth and judgment. Sure are all thy precepts, established forever and ever, done in truth and uprightness. Redemption has he sent to his people. He commanded his covenant forever. Holy and fearful is his name. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of Jehovah. A good understanding have all they that do them. His praise endures forever. Psalm 112. Praise ye Jah. Happy the man that fears Jehovah, that delights greatly in his commandments. Mighty in the earth shall be his seed. The generation of the upright shall be blessed. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness stands fast forever. There has risen in the darkness a light for the upright, gracious and compassionate and righteous. Happy is the man that shows favor and lends. He maintains his cause in the judgment. For he shall not be moved forever. The righteous will be in everlasting remembrance. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in Jehovah. His heart is established. He shall not be afraid, until he shall see his desire on his foes. He has dispersed. He has given to the needy. His righteousness stands fast forever. His horn shall be exalted in honor. The wicked shall see it and be vexed. He will gnash his teeth and melt away. The desire of the wicked shall perish. Psalm 113. Praise ye Jah. Praise ye servants of Jehovah. Praise the name of Jehovah. Let the name of Jehovah be blessed, henceforth and forever. From the rising of the sun until its going down, praised be the name of Jehovah. High above all nations is Jehovah. Above the heavens is his glory. Who is like Jehovah our God, he that sits on high, he that looks far down on the heavens and on the earth? He raises up the weak out of the dust. He lifts up the needy from the dunghill, to make him sit with the nobles of his people. He makes the barren dwell in the family, the rejoicing mother of sons. Praise ye Jah! Psalm 114. When Israel went forth out of Egypt, the house of Jacob from a people of strange language, Judah became his sanctuary, Israel his dominion. The sea saw and fled, the Jordan turned back. The mountains leaped like rams, hills like the young of the flock. What ails thee, thou sea, that thou fleest? Thou Jordan, that thou turnest back? Ye mountains, that ye leap like rams, hills like young of the flock? Tremble, thou earth, before the Lord, before the God of Jacob, who turned the rock into a pool of water, the flinty rock into a fountain of waters. Psalm 115. Not unto us, O Jehovah, not unto us, but to thy name give glory, for thy mercy, for thy truth. Wherefore should the heathen say, Where now is their God? But our God is in the heavens. All that he pleased he has done. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of the hands of man. A mouth have they, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. Ears have they, but they hear not. A nose have they, but they smell not. Their hands they handle not. Their feet they walk not. They make no sound in their throat. Like to them are they that make them, every one that trusts in them. Israel, trust thou in Jehovah. He is their help and their shield. House of Aaron, trust ye in Jehovah. He is their help and their shield. Ye that fear Jehovah, trust in Jehovah. He is their help and their shield. Jehovah has been mindful of us. He will bless the house of Israel, will bless the house of Aaron, will bless them that fear Jehovah, the small with the great. Jehovah add to you and to your children. Blessed be ye of Jehovah, maker of heaven and earth. The heavens are Jehovah's heavens, and the earth he has given to the sons of men. The dead praise not Jah, and none that go down to silence. But we will bless Jah, henceforth and forever. Praise ye Jah. Psalm 116. I love, because Jehovah hears my voice and my supplications, because he has inclined his ear to me, and I will call while I live. The bands of death encompassed me, and the pangs of the underworld came upon me. I find trouble and sorrow, and I call on the name of Jehovah. Jehovah, I pray, deliver my soul. Gracious is Jehovah and righteous, and our God shows compassion. Jehovah preserves the simple. I was brought low, and he helped me. Return my soul to thy rest, for Jehovah has dealt bountifully with thee. For thou hast rescued my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from falling. I will walk before Jehovah in the lands of the living. I believed, for so I speak. I was afflicted greatly. I said in my alarm, All mankind are false. How shall I repay to Jehovah all his benefits bestowed upon me? I will take the cup of salvation, and will call on the name of Jehovah. I will pay my vows to Jehovah, yea, in the presence of all his people. Precious in the eyes of Jehovah is the death of his saints. I beseech, O Jehovah, for I am thy servant. I am thy servant, the son of thy handmaid. Thou hast loosed my bonds. To thee will I offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving, and will call on the name of Jehovah. I will pay my vows to Jehovah, yea, in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of Jehovah, in the midst of thee, O Jerusalem. Praise ye Jah. Psalm 117. Praise Jehovah, all ye nations. Extol him, all ye peoples. For great is his mercy toward us, and the truth of Jehovah is forever. Praise ye Jah. Psalm 118. Give thanks to Jehovah, for he is good, for his mercy is forever. Let Israel say, for his mercy is forever. Let the house of Aaron say, for his mercy is forever. Let them that fear Jehovah say, for his mercy is forever. Out of the anguish I called on Jah. Jah answered and set me in a large place. Jehovah is for me, I will not fear. What can man do to me? Jehovah is for me with my helpers, and I shall see my desire on them that hate me.
It is better to trust in Jehovah than to confide in man. It is better to trust in Jehovah than to confide in princes. All the heathen compass me about. In the name of Jehovah I will surely cut them off. They compass me about, yea, they surround me. In the name of Jehovah I will surely cut them off. They compass me about like bees. They are quenched like the fire of thorns. In the name of Jehovah I will surely cut them off. Thou didst sorely thrust at me that I might fall, but Jehovah helped me. Jah is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. The voice of triumph and salvation is in the tents of the righteous. The right hand of Jehovah has wrought mightily. The right hand of Jehovah is uplifted high. The right hand of Jehovah has wrought mightily. I shall not die, but shall live, and shall recount the works of Jah. Jah has sorely chastened me, but he has not given me over to death. Open to me the gates of righteousness. I will come in by them. I will give thanks to Jah. This is the gate of Jehovah. The righteous shall come in by it. I will thank thee that thou hast answered me, and art become my salvation. The stone which the builders rejected has become the head of the corner. This is from Jehovah. It is wonderful in our eyes. This is the day Jehovah has made. We will exult and be glad in it. I beseech, O Jehovah, save now. I beseech, O Jehovah, send now prosperity. Blessed is he that comes in the name of Jehovah. We bless you from the house of Jehovah. Mighty is Jehovah, and has given us light. Bind the festal sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar. Thou art my God, and I will thank thee. My God, I will exalt thee. Give thanks to Jehovah, for he is good, for his mercy is forever. The end of Psalms 106 through 118. Recording by Mark Penfold.